How's it going, guys? Jake here. You're watching Dude Ranch DIY. We are back in the wood yard. I got these 3 full IBC totes of ready to burn ash. This is some of my last truly dry, ready to go wood that I have in my inventory at this point. And I'm going to be delivering it to a guy that I work with tomorrow. So I'm going to load it up in my trailer this evening, and I'll bring the trailer with me to work. And then after work, we'll go to his house. He lives in the same town that we work for, and I'll dump it for him, and that'll be it. I'll get it out of here. I'll free up 3 more totes, and Bob's your uncle. He'll be happy. He'll have wood for the rest of the winter. I don't know if you can tell, the snow is melting. I'm in a long sleeve t-shirt. I am still wearing my insulated Carhartt bibs because it was cold this morning, but it's actually warmed up to about 50 degrees. The sun is out for the first time in weeks. Snow is melting, as you can see. We see a lot of wood chips here in the wood yard. So I want to get all this wood out of here while it's still nice and warm, because on Thursday, we're actually expecting 6 to 8 more inches of snow. So this little warm spell is short-lived, but I figured I would capitalize on it. That way I can get the wood out of here while it's not covered in snow, and he can get it stacked and covered before the snow comes. So yeah, I got the tractor warming up. The forks are already on it. I'm gonna uncover these totes, and then we'll get to load them in the back of the trailer. Gonna try and keep all this wood as dry as possible. It's nice and dry underneath the car. Oh wow, I actually see a little spider. Haven't seen an insect in a couple months. It's been so cold. Well guys, there you have it. 3 ready to go, full totes of ash. This stuff stayed nice and dry, except for a couple little pieces here on the edge, just from where it was dripping down. But for the most part, it is all real dry. It's just surface. This one didn't really get wet at all on the edges, and neither did this one. So this middle one must have just had a little pooling effect. But yeah, a little bit of snow here. Those tarps work really well. They're 4 feet by 20 feet long, so you can fit 5 of these totes in a row, and then I just zip tie it to them, and you know, I kind of stack it up. I didn't even really do it on these, but I'll kind of hump it up in the middle. That way it creates, you know, a drainage off to the sides. And it works really well. If they were 5 feet wide by 20, I think that might even be a little bit better, just so that I could get full coverage and maybe an inch or 2 draped off on the sides of each tote, and maybe zip tie it to this second rung instead of doing this first one. But for the most part, those tarps work great. It was kind of on a whim. I bought them and I was like, I think this might work. And they work pretty well so far. So I'm happy with them. I'll put a link. I think there's a link in the description already, but I'll double check. But they're nice, heavy duty brown tarps. They come in all different colors, shapes, sizes. Works pretty well for the totes, especially. All right, now as you can see, this is not one of the totes where I have the full face cut out. So typically when I have a tote like this, it'll pretty much dump until where I do have it cut out. So I am still going to chain it on to the pallet forks, but I will probably most likely have to unload some by hand, but that's fine. No big deal. So there's the first side. And there's the second side. Now, the last time, a couple videos back, I posted where I timed myself loading a full cord of the totes into my dump trailer, and it took somewhere around like 8 or 9 minutes, something like that. I asked for feedback on what you guys thought would be a good system as far as these hooks go, because you saw this tote was kind of easy, but sometimes the wood bunches up right up against these bars, and the wood kind of gets in the way of me fishing the hook through. I got a lot of great feedback. I think I am probably going to go with a Stihl hook that has like a latch on it, one of the spring-loaded latches, so I can just hook it on instead of having to feed this big bulky hook back and through and back onto itself. I think that'll help save some time and make it a little bit easier. I'm also considering getting some big like shackles or something and just shackling, securing them onto the metal bars themselves. That way I can just hook that new safety latch hook directly onto those, shackles or whatever you want to call them. That way, it'll never be an issue. Even if the wood is right up against it, I have the rest of the shackles sticking out to hook onto. This system has been working pretty well so far. I really can't complain. It saved me a lot of, hand loading, tossing on wood. So I can't complain about that. And yeah, we'll bring it on over. I got the dump trailer in the driveway. It's a pretty soupy, sloppy mess getting back here to the wood yard right now. So I want to take as few trips as possible with the tractor, across the lawn and all the wet, snowy, slushy area. But yeah, let's get this loaded up. here's a first. The hook and the chain just came off. So this is kind of what I've been worried about with this setup. Some people just suggested using a big open hook because that would honestly be a lot faster. But you know, if it was just latched around this bar, I was always afraid that it might come off, and this just did come off. So this is why I think I'm gonna very soon in the near future be switching over to the method that I just discussed, the hook with the safety latch and probably a couple shackles or chain links or something sticking out to just quickly attach to. About half the tote is at, or half the wood is out of the tote, so I'm gonna hook it back up and try and get a little bit more out. All right, let's go. All right, guys, now as you can see, there's definitely still some wood left in here. I have to chuck off by hand. Now, this is kind of where I've been thinking, you know, and debating, is it worth it to cut out the entire front part of this tote and leave maybe this top bar that spans across here to add a little bit of structural rigidity? By doing that, I think it would allow me to dump the full contents of the tote pretty much every time, because there would be nothing really holding it back in here. The thing that I have trouble with is obviously I don't have a totally unlimited supply of these totes. I do get them for free. I do have a few over 30. I think I have like 32 of them right now. Not all of them are in fully functioning condition. But if I had an unlimited supply of them, I think it would be a no-brainer. I would cut this section out on all the totes, probably leave this top bar to give it a little bit more support like I had said, and then I would be able to dump these totes out no problem. But because I don't have an unlimited supply, it's kind of like a fine line for me whether or not I want to potentially risk breaking these totes that are quite valuable, because they do save me a lot of time and energy most of the time. So if you guys have any other ideas, I know I've mentioned this before and people have given me various ideas of what to do. Let me know. Do you think I should cut the face out of every tote? That way it's just ready to go and I can dump it? Or do you think it offers a little bit more use by still having a little front part to it to maintain some of the wood in there? I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up. Okay, so here's the second tote. We did not get much out of it, just the little top part, and yet again, the chain fell off. So that's two totes in a row. Not a coincidence. I'd say that this chain system is flawed. I think I just got lucky that it didn't happen the first couple times I've done it. So I'm definitely going to be getting new hooks for the end there with safety latch. That way it can't come off, or at least it can't come off quite as easily. But yeah, so I gotta hand toss in all this wood because the front is not cut out. If the front had been cut out, a lot more would come out, if not all of it. But again, it's weighing out my options, whether or not I want to sacrifice the rigidity of the totes for being able to dump all of my totes easier. As of right now, I have 3 totes with the full face cut out, and those are super easy to dump, but they are starting to kind of fall apart. However, I have probably dumped about 12 cords out of them, so they've held up for about that long. All right, guys, well, the second tote is in there, as you can see. In my opinion, nothing quite worse than having to do something, you know, by hand or the long way when you know that there's an easier way that it can be done. In this case, I'm referencing the totes and cutting out the front and stuff. If you guys watch Outside with Shibe, he actually recommended that I maybe get my welding buddy, Chris, to reinforce some of these totes to kind of try and make them a little bit stronger when I do cut the face out of them. That way I could have maybe like 6, enough for at least like 2 cords at any given time to be able to dump into the back of the trailer. The key to doing that would be how to reinforce them without adding, you know, too much weight, where it would, you know, add an abundance of extra weight that then the tractor would have trouble picking it up. But I think that's a pretty good idea too. I'm gonna have to bounce a couple ideas off of him. I think, if memory serves me correctly, that there is one more tote back. Well, I know that there's one more tote back there with wood, but I think that it might have the face cut out of it completely. Now, I don't want to hold myself to that. I'm hoping that it does. Fingers crossed, that way I don't have to hand chuck any more wood. So let's head back there. We'll hook up that last tote, get it out here, and get it in the trailer. Well, guys, like I said before, there's nothing quite worse than having to do it the hard way, which, granted, that could have been a little bit harder, you know, if all the wood was stacked and I had to throw every piece. But as you saw, each and every tote had some of the cage left in it, and I had to kind of hand chuck it out after I dumped off that first like half or so. So let me know what you guys think. Obviously, these IBC totes are a huge time saver when it comes to stacking the wood. You don't really have to think about it. You just kind of toss it in there and the cage holds it all in place. It's a great method for knowing how much wood you have because it's a third of a cord. It's pretty widely recognized. I mean, you could do the math yourself. I've done it countless times. Each one of these holds a little bit more than a third of a cord, depending how tight you stack it. But for me, doing lots of firewood deliveries where I have to drive and I can't just drive the tractor with a tote on it, and I don't have the ability as of yet to unload the totes using the trailer and the log arch and the winch and stuff. I have some ideas on that. I've thought about it multiple times, but I haven't done it yet. These totes are great, I think, for my own personal use, because I can pick them up and move them around to the wood room when and if I need to. But as far as loading up wood and stuff, they work as long as the full face is cut out. So I'm gonna have to give some thought. Maybe the reinforcing thing is a good idea. Definitely the hook with the safety latch. I'm definitely gonna be doing that. Conveyor belt could come into play. Obviously, you guys haven't seen that conveyor belt on the channel anymore. That is because I did sell it. So let me know if you guys think a conveyor belt would be a good addition to the channel and to my whole operation that we got going on here. I'm still kind of weighing the pros and cons of it. A pro would definitely be having a big stockpile, you know, of stacked wood, and I could just pull the trailer up to the conveyor belt, have the conveyor in between the trailer and the rows of wood, and just chuck it on and, you know, do things that way. But that's going to wrap this one up. Hope you guys enjoyed. I went from doing the fastest loading of a cord of firewood to probably one of the slower times of loading a cord of firewood, but it's all in there. I'll have another happy customer. As I always say, if you guys are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button. Also, hit the like button, that thumbs up down below. If you got any questions or comments, put them in the comments section below. And we'll see you here next time. I'm Jake. This is Dude Ranch DIY. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.